Well, hello everyone. This is Chrystal Lynn. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. It's an absolutely gorgeous day in Menifee, California on March 8th, 2015. And don't forget to set your clocks back because daylight savings. And this is spring forward. Yay! It's my favorite time of year. So I'm really excited. And I'm excited to share this video with you guys. This message is going to be a little different today than maybe some of my normal messages, and I'm actually a little bit nervous because I want to share some things with you guys about myself, and that's always a little hard to do. But rest assured, the good news is that it's not all about me. The message and the story and the example I'm hoping to use from my life experience, I'm hoping you guys will take with it. A lot of you guys are just finding my channel, and I've been getting so many awesome messages and emails and encouragement. And so I want you guys to know a little bit about me. And there's little things I've shared along the way, but I have held back a lot because I've been still working through it. And I'm just getting to a point in my life where I'm really looking at some things and facing some things and excited about some things, and I want to share them with you. So, first of all, I have a confession to make about a dual life that I've been living. And I've decided to bring my two worlds together. And the good news is, it's just turned out to be a really fascinating experience for me to have stumbled on this lesson. So, let me just say what it is. Some of you guys already know. I haven't really hidden it, but I have lived two different lives. Many of you guys know me as Chrystal Lynn, the astrologer, cowgirl astrologer, and many people know me as Christa L. Pynn. Now, you know, it's not really that big of a stretch, but for some people, now that I've been kind of bringing my two worlds together, they've been asking me about it. What do we call you? Are you Chrystal, C-H-R-Y-S-T-A-L, or are you Christa, C-H-R-I-S-T-A? Who are you? And so, you know, I'm like, I didn't really know how that would go about, and why did I create that? And can I bring the two worlds together? These are all questions I've been working on. And so you might ask, well, what's the big deal? Or why do you have two different names, two different lives? Well, for the last 25 years, I've worked with animals. Many of you guys know me. It's not a surprise, cowgirl astrologer. I've worked with horses. I've worked with children. I have in fact, I'm sitting on it right now. At one time, I had a 70-horse ranch here. And I taught kids and people and lessons. My life has been very public in my community all of my life. I've been an entrepreneur several times over, and I have ran businesses and done really well for myself. And in 2007, as many of you guys know, and I've talked about it, we had a really intense radical shift in our world financially. And most of the small businesses got very hit during this time. It was a 2.5-year period from 2007 to 2009. And my business was hit very hard during this time. And I had spent my whole life building and training and working with top horsemen and bringing these people to my ranch and learning, and all of a sudden I'm faced with a really intense reality that my world is crumbling. The dreams, the efforts, the injuries in my back from all the years of getting dumped off of horses, like, it's all coming to an end. What do I have to show for it? Who am I? What am I? I experienced during that time a very tragic experience. Now, I'm hoping I can talk about it, because this is why I haven't talked about it. It's been really, this is not what to do. Okay. All right. Here we go. I can do this. At a time in my life when I was realizing that my business was being affected by the financial issues going on in our world, I was having to shut my ranch down, which was really hard for me to do, but I was still trying to hang on to it because I was not going to let go of my dream come true and everything I'd worked for. And so I had taken in a couple of horses for training. It's somebody I had been working with for many years. Absolutely the most beautiful horses you've ever seen. And I felt really strong about this decision at the time. It was, you know, it was efforts of mine to what can I do? What can I do? You know, we get in the mode of, I got to make money. I got to save the situation. Okay, I can take in a couple more horses for training. I can take in this. I can take in that. Everything I was doing, though, was just getting stopped, but I didn't understand it. I couldn't see it. I thought I needed more grit. I thought I needed more something, you know, you just got to keep trying. And during this time, a very freak thing happened. I live out here in Menifee, California. We have a lot of beehives and people who breed bees around here. And somehow, and it's very common, we had a huge swarm of Africanized bees come into our valley. And guess where they decided to locate? Yeah, they decided to locate in one of my barns on my ranch. I have a very large piece of property here, so it's very easy. You know, there's barns here and barns there, and they started getting in the walls of this barn that I had that was kind of abandoned. We weren't using it, so that's why we didn't see the activity around it. I've lived in harmony with honeybees here on my ranch for over 15 years, and in this valley, honeybees, we've always coexisted together. These were not honeybees. They came in and they took over my honeybee hives and all over the community, but they located here. And so during a freak situation, they got activated. Nobody knew they were there. They hadn't been aggressive, but we were feeding horses and the horses were hopping around like they do when they're waiting for the food to come, and they're moving. And the movement of the horses activated this swarm of bees. It was in the evening. And the next thing you know, there was they say over 500,000 Africanized bees that attacked these two horses. I had never seen or even seen anything like it, and I've been with horses my whole life. Just never had that experience. So I got a phone call. This was my ranch manager at the time, and they were feeding, and I got a phone call, and they told me that there's, you know, we don't know what to do. There's these bees. It's a swarm. It's like a fire. I mean, we're talking about looking out and not being able to see anything in front of you because there's bees everywhere with, you know, obviously you're not right there. I had people jumping in to save these horses. I had one of my dear friends who's one of my motorcycle, the brothers in my husband's club, and put on his leathers. He put on a beehive and he went in there to save those horses. We had the fire department. We had everything. And without going into more detail, they did not live. They did not survive. And it was very, very traumatic for me. I went through a very, very horrible period after that of like a post-traumatic type stress syndrome, because I was dreaming about the bees, and I was, you know, having this in my mind. Okay, I couldn't function. It was so awful. This tree's gonna fuck me. Okay, so going forward, because I don't want to get everybody too intense, you know, I had to shut down my whole life. And at that time, I was going through a divorce. My whole life went down, my children. I'd always been the financial, you know, supporter or strong supporter in my life. I'd always been the one to make decisions, and here I am, flattened. And I went through a time where, you know, unfortunately people like to blame because, you know, that's what we do when we're in pain, is blame. And so, you know, somehow I could have controlled these 500,000 Africanized bees, you know. there was no way. And then how do you respond after that? You know, one step after another, you're doing everything you can. And it was really, really hard on me. And I just went into isolation. I just went into a deep isolation. I was on the newspapers. I was on the news, you know, Christa, you know, and all these things, and everybody's judgment, you know, how everybody is. What you should have done was, and what you should do, and you should have. And then, you know, I had to then deal with the after effect. I did close my whole ranch down because it wasn't safe, and I couldn't get rid of these bees. Okay, at first. And so I started looking into it. I had to tear down buildings, trees. We had huge, you know, exterminations going on, and it was very, very, very expensive. And, you know, of course, nobody's going to help you because it's not their problem. The county's not going to see it as an emergency. So I had to take care of and deal with that. And so they removed the bees. There's no more bees. This has been many years ago now. But I just didn't know who I was anymore. Here I'd spent 25 years taking care of horses. And then this is the end result. So trying to rebuild my life. This is where I want to have this conversation. You know, I tried to rebuild my life as Christa Pynn, you know, as Christa, you know, and it was like, no matter what I did, I go, well, I'll write a book about it, you know, and it was just like, I all the energy around me had just gotten so difficult, and I just didn't know who I was. And so I decided I was going to have to do something, because I was just, it isolated myself quite a bit from everybody, closed down the ranch, just here by myself with my 3 horses, gotten everything, taken everything, bared it down, flattened it down. And I've been here the last, you know, 4 or 5 years, just kind of enjoying it, enjoying my peace and privacy, I have to admit. Going from somebody that was very public to somebody that just didn't have any confidence that, you know, in my decisions and in my life. And I felt so much condemnation, and I felt so much judgment from so many people during that time, just because people don't know what to do. Few people came in my life that were kind of unusual. Now, the other thing I want to say about myself is that I was raised and very passionate, strong Christian all of my life. And so when this happened, and I received so much judgment from my community, I, you know, like somehow, you know, God was condemning me through the bees. I mean, this is the heaviness I was walking around with, that I had somehow, you know, was responsible for this, you know, and I just couldn't get that out of my head. And I was just had to be such a bad person for this to happen, because I'd always believed that when good things happen, that means God must love you. When bad things happen, you did something wrong. You know, that was my thinking at that time. And so I had to do something, because my mind is so busy, and I was just getting mentally self-destructive. And so I decided if I was going to write a book, I needed to get out into social media. I needed to figure out this computer thing. I mean, basically at that point, no Facebook, no email, no nothing. I just was, you know, not wanting to connect. But I got on the Facebook, started reconnecting with old friends and a lot of my horsey friends, and anything I said, anything I did, I felt like I was just not going to be able to redeem myself. Like that image, that title, that stamp, you know, like, oh, you know, that memory. And I was projecting it. So I assumed everybody was projecting it on me. That doesn't mean they were, but I was projecting that in myself. And so by projecting that, this video is not going how I planned. I just felt like my whole life was a waste. So I had to do something, because I don't go down that easy. And what I had to do was find a way to tell my story. So I went to college. I went back to school. I went on an online school. At this time, things were looking a little better. I had gotten remarried. I had a love child in my 40s. I'll talk about that another time. And, you know, I was just going, what the heck? What's going on here? I was over here, now I'm over here. But I had something. I had a husband that believed in me, that saw in me, that allowed me to be me. It was one person that allowed me to be me, all of me, kooky me, that knew my heart, that knew it was one person that stood by my side, and that was him. Yeah, so I married him. Yeah, you got to do that. You got to nab them when they stand by you. But he kept believing in me, and he kept just giving me that, like, come on, come back. So I went to school. Now, mind you, I don't know how to do anything on the internet. I don't know how to do anything. I'm crying because I don't even know how to submit an assignment. I'm in a university. I had gone to college at 18, 19, Cal State Fullerton when I was younger. So, I mean, loved school, and I knew I could, but it'd been 20 years, 25 years since I'd been in school. I've been out in the backyard training horses with my hands. So editing and getting back in the sync and communication with intelligent people, I was like, really like, wow. And the next thing you know, I started thriving. I started thriving in school. I started like I didn't know that I could do that. And I started learning how to work around social media. And I started trying to find, where am I going to fit in this world? Because I can't just be a complete loner. I'm not going to be happy with that. I have to give, these stories are too valuable. Even though they're painful to me right now, there's messages in them, and somehow I have to find a way to share with the world that, you know, these stories. And so I went to school, and one assignment, okay, I had was to go on social media, open a YouTube channel, and do this assignment, express yourself, you know, kind of thing. Well, I had already been playing around with YouTube. I'd opened a YouTube under Christa Pynn, Christa, Pynn. You guys can find that. And just started sharing some of my animal stories, some of my interviews with other animal people, just getting the feel of it, trying to feel good, trying to feel like, you know, this is what I do, and wanting to tell these stories, but they just kind of fell flat. It was like, nobody really cared. And I was like, oh my gosh, all these years of my work, nobody really cares. Nobody really knows. Nobody really values it. Or I'm a dime a dozen, you know, kind of thing. And I just felt like, again, you know, what do I do with all of these years of experience and the need to teach, because I've been a teacher my whole life. So at that time, I had been introduced to astrology. Now you got to understand, coming from a strong Christian background, I wasn't sure if that was good or not. I wasn't sure if that was okay or not. I wasn't sure, you know, we have these, you know, labels in our mind of things. And so I had never, you know, and wasn't even interested in something like that prior. But when I started looking and was introduced to my chart and began to look at who I was, oh my gosh, it was like the weight of the world lifted off of me, because I understood now who I was and how I was trying to be so many other things. And I understood what my gifts were, and I understood why I was such an empath and so sensitive and so intuitive, and I understood my drive, and I understood everything. I just started to find me. And when I opened up to that a little bit, to my regular world, of course, I got a lot of negativity. You know, you're going back to school, you're not serving God. Like, I'm going out into the world wasting my godly talents because I'm going to college. I'm like, you mean Christians can't be educated? I mean, these were the messages I was getting. I had started listening to some really awesome harmonic flutes for anxiety and doing my school assignments. And I shared that one day on this Christa Pynn page, and I got, oh my gosh, you know, every Native American's of the devil. And I was like, oh my God, This is like, this music is actually healing and helping me, and it's not a drug. And it's good, and everything I went to do, I kept getting these really weird backlashes, and it was just stagnating me. It was like I just was stopping me. Now, I could block them, and I did. I blocked a whole bunch of them, and I kept going, you know, but I was stagnant. I was stuck. I was hearing their voices in my head. I was letting it affect me. But I didn't want to disconnect from a lot of great people, but I needed to find a way to express myself. And so when I got into school, and I had been studying astrology at this point for several years, kind of behind the scenes, kind of privately. And I was practicing it with my animals. I was practicing it with breeding, cycles, gardening. I was just like, wow, this stuff really works. It's so cool. They're just beautiful cycles of life. And how awesome is it that God would give us this map, that we're not out here trying to figure it out, and that I do love God, and I do love astrology, and they don't conflict for me. They make me love God more. So is this also bad? You know, I'm going through all these things, and I was trying to figure it out, because before I can share with anybody, I have to be right inside. I have to know what my ethics are. I have to know what my convictions are. I can't open my mouth if I don't have those things straight inside. So I was trying to figure them out. And I started getting on YouTube through school, and this assignment came up, and I thought, I've been watching all these YouTube astrologers, and you know, how fun they were. And I finally found people that were talking like me and thinking like me, and making it fun. And I was just so impressed with the freedom in this YouTube community and the willingness to get out there. So I decided to do this assignment. And the assignment was, you know, I decided to open up a little astrology video. So it was November 22nd, 2012. You guys can go back and look at my first video. It's probably so funny now. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to change my name a little bit. I want to do something different. I don't want anybody to know what I'm doing. I don't want anybody's pressure on me. I want something of my own that I can explore creatively and make mistakes and figure it out, and not feel like I'm under that microscope, even though I knew I was getting ready to get back in a new microscope. It was just a different microscope. And so I decided to give myself a little stage name. And so it was a spiritual name. And I thought, well, Chrystal is just such a beautiful spiritual, you know, offshoot of Christa. And so I Chrystal Lynned it. This was a school assignment. I really wasn't planning on it like necessarily being anything. I just thought, let me see what I can do. Next thing you know, it kind of starts getting some energy. And I had a few people jump in and support it, share the videos. And next thing you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is kind of turning into something. I started having fun. And I started being creative. And I started sharing things. And I started getting feedback from people that were seeing who I was, not this that they were judging. They were just seeing me. And I was like, oh my gosh, there is a me in here. There is something in here. And so next thing you know, 2 years later, I don't know, 300 videos later, I'm doing readings all over the world. I met friends, women that have been the most amazing people, strong, powerful. I just grew. I was able to be free. And I didn't want to tell anybody about it, because I didn't want to put any pressure on myself. I didn't want that. Again, it could be in your own mind. But whether it's in your own mind or not, sometimes you've got to change your name. You know, if you're a mom right now and you want to jump out there, that's what this message is about. If you want to jump out there and you want to do something different, something creative, you know, but you think, oh, I can't do that. I'm a mom. I'm the soccer mom. Everybody knows me as this. You know what? Do something radically different. Change your name. Change your life. You know, I never wanted to change myself. And I knew from the beginning when I made that kind of decision that if anything ever took, I could still bring those two worlds together, because it wasn't anybody different. It was just a different medium for me that was freer, that I could find and express myself. So I share this story with you guys because as of recently, just this last week on the full moon, I launched a private group page. And I say private, you're welcome to come. I will put the link below, but the focus is specific. It's not in a big astrology page, although there will be some of that. But it's a page about reinventing yourself. And I'm inviting my both worlds into this page, my traditional horse people, my friends that have stayed with me by my side. I'm not talking about negative energy. There's a lot of positive energy that as I rebuilt myself up in a way that was safe and that I brought that energy back to my other world, to my Christa Pynn name. And you know what? People saw that in me. They saw that reflection, and they saw that respect I had in myself, and they saw that integrity I had in myself. And I'm not going down, and I'm not going to be labeled by anybody, because my label changes all the time. I'm a mom. I'm a horsewoman. I'm a wife. You know, I ride motorcycles. I ride horses. I do astrology. I love social media. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a life coach. I'm so many things. I'm going to be 47 years old this year, you guys. I'm not ashamed to say it. 47 years old. I've earned these little crow's feet right here. I've earned every one of them. And this page is going to be about people just wanting to have a support system for recreating yourself. So there's going to be links about social media, this kind of message. I'm going to be doing some series on social media. I'm not here to tell people how to do it. What I'm here to do is to show you that you have it within you. To find that place again, to find your name. What is your name? You know, maybe you need a little stage name for a while. Maybe you need a new breath of energy. You know, names carry vibrations, and this is a whole nother study. But names carry vibrations. And when I changed my name and I changed that little Y and I added an extra letter in the number, it changed the vibration. And I received a different vibration coming in that I needed to help me heal. I respect my life and I respect my titles. I have many of them. And I want to have many. I'm multifaceted. But I want to take on a little different direction, finding myself, and I kind of want to guide us into this process of searching out who we are. It's not about what we believe, because we all have different belief systems, and I'm not here to convince you about what I believe. You know, there was a time I would have smuggled Bibles into China. I was so passionate, but now I know that, you know, it's in here. I don't have to. My faith and my experience with God, my whole entire life is mine. I'm not throwing it out there for anybody to trample it. And I'm not going to tell you how to do it, because I believe one thing. And this is advice from my husband. And he said, there's one thing I know about God, and that I'm not it. He's capable of showing all of us what we need. And so my message today is, if you'd like to join this group, I'm going to be opening up women retreats this spring, day retreats. They're going to be reinvent your life. I am a professional astrologer. I use astrology as a tool to help people find themselves, but I don't need that tool to find myself. You don't either. It's an added asset. If you want the advantage of it, it's awesome. It has its shadow sides, just like any religion or faith. You know, astrology isn't, to me, it's a tool. It doesn't hold the power of telling us what to believe. It puts us all on the same playing ground. It helped me to see that we're all people struggling with the same thing. And all that self-righteous judgment that was coming down upon me, that I began to believe, is completely unnecessary. And it hurts a lot of people. So I'm not here to judge. I'm here to say all are welcome. The only thing you need is a creative spirit and a desire to want to grow. and a place that you can say, here I am. You can share your work, and we can all encourage each other. Okay, so it's still developing right now. It's called Barefoot and Bridleless, and these will be my women retreats coming up this summer. I'll be having other big group activities where everyone can come, weekend stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited, you guys. This has been a long time coming. It really has. So you can call me Christa, or you can call me Chrystal. You can call me whatever you want. The most important thing is I know who I am now. All right. Thanks.